3 a.m., blue light from my laptop screen. Bank balance, $47.23. I'd been grinding 60-hour weeks for 2 years, convinced that more effort meant more money. The irony hit me like a brick wall. My relentless productivity was keeping me broke. Every optimization I'd implemented, every side hustle I'd launched, every financial guru's advice I'd followed had led me here. That weekend, out of pure exhaustion, I made 3 lazy decisions that would generate more wealth than all my previous hustling combined. This isn't about working harder, it's about the strategic power of doing less. The first identity shift happened when I stopped equating sweat with success. For years, I believed that if I wasn't exhausted, I wasn't trying hard enough. My broke bank account proved otherwise. Real transformation began when I embraced strategic laziness over mindless productivity. I was too lazy to budget every month, so I automated everything. Direct deposits split my paycheck automatically. 60% to checking, 20% to savings, 20% to investments. No willpower required. No monthly budget meetings with myself. No guilt about overspending because the money was already gone before I could touch it. This lazy system saved me more money in 6 months than 3 years of detailed budgeting ever did. My investment strategy became beautifully simple because I was too lazy to research every stock. I picked 3 low-cost index funds and automated monthly contributions. While my friends spent hours analyzing earnings reports and timing the market, I was building wealth in my sleep. The good enough approach outperformed their perfectionist strategies by 40% over 2 years. Procrastination became my secret weapon against unnecessary purchases. When I wanted something, I'd tell myself I'd buy it later. Most of the time, later never came. The 24-hour rule turned into a 48-hour rule, then a week. Suddenly, impulse purchases disappeared. My laziness was saving me thousands without any conscious effort. The side income breakthrough happened because I refused to trade more time for money. Instead of launching another time-intensive project, I focused on passive income streams. I created one digital product that sold while I slept. I invested in dividend-paying stocks that paid me for doing nothing. I rented out parking space I wasn't using. These required initial setup but zero ongoing time commitment. My reluctance to optimize everything actually optimized my financial life. While others obsessed over finding the perfect savings account with 0.1% higher interest, I focused on the big wins. I negotiated my salary once and got a 15% raise. I refinanced my car loan and saved $200 monthly. I switched insurance providers and cut my premiums in half. 3 lazy phone calls generated more wealth than years of micro-optimizations. The paradox became clear. My procrastination wasn't a weakness. It was forcing me to find efficient solutions. When you're too lazy to do something manually, you build systems. When you're too lazy to research endlessly, you focus on proven strategies. When you're too lazy to hustle constantly, you create passive income. Strategic laziness eliminated busy work and revealed what actually moved the needle. The real breakthrough came when I stopped adding financial habits and started removing financial friction. Decision fatigue was killing my wealth-building efforts, so I created default responses to every spending trigger. When restaurants suggested appetizers, my default was no. When salespeople offered upgrades, my default was the basic option. When subscription services offered premium plans, my default was the cheapest tier. These automatic responses eliminated thousands of micro-decisions that used to drain my willpower and my wallet. My subscriptions audit happened purely because I was too lazy to manage multiple payment dates and amounts. Canceled everything I hadn't used in 30 days, consolidated remaining services, and set calendar reminders for annual renewals. What started as laziness saved me $340 monthly. More importantly, it freed up mental bandwidth I'd been wasting on tracking various billing cycles. Social spending became my biggest wealth leak until strategic disappearance fixed it. I stopped accepting every dinner invitation, every happy hour, every weekend trip. This wasn't antisocial behavior, it was intentional curation. I discovered that declining generic social events created space for meaningful connections. The friends who mattered understood. The ones who didn't weren't really friends anyway. My social circle became smaller but stronger, and my bank account grew larger. The minimalist approach to possessions happened because I was tired of managing stuff. Every item I owned required mental energy. Where to store it, when to use it, how to maintain it. I started asking one question before any purchase. Am I willing to give this item ongoing mental real estate? Most things failed this test. My apartment became sparse but functional. My mind became clearer. My expenses dropped dramatically because I'd eliminated the desire to acquire. Strategic ignorance of market volatility transformed my investment psychology. I stopped checking my portfolio daily, stopped reading financial news, stopped following market predictions. This wasn't irresponsible. It was psychologically strategic. When you don't know your investments dropped 5% yesterday, you can't panic sell. When you don't read predictions about market crashes, you can't second-guess second-guess your long-term strategy. My returns improved because my emotions stopped interfering with sound financial principles. The wealth-building revelation was profound. I was getting rich through subtraction, not addition. Every system I removed, every decision I automated, every distraction I eliminated created space for wealth to accumulate. Most people try to add their way to financial freedom. More income streams, more investment research, more optimization tactics. I subtracted my way there by removing everything that didn't directly contribute to my financial goals. Building wealth through strategic disappearance meant disappearing from expensive habits, disappearing from time-wasting activities, disappearing from social pressure to spend. Each disappearing act freed up resources, mental, emotional, and financial, that automatically flowed toward wealth building. I wasn't working harder for money, I was removing the obstacles that prevented money from working for me. Real transformation happens when you stop forcing productivity and start designing systems that work without your constant intervention. The exhausting cycle of adding more habits, more strategies, more optimizations keeps you busy but not necessarily wealthy. Strategic laziness reveals what actually matters by eliminating everything that doesn't. Your next step isn't to add another wealth-building strategy to your already overwhelming list. It's to identify one area where strategic laziness could replace exhausting effort. Maybe you automate your savings so you stop manually transferring money each month. Maybe you eliminate subscription services you're too lazy to actively use. Maybe you create default responses to spending decisions so you stop debating every purchase. The identity shift from hard worker to strategic thinker starts with one lazy decision that produces better results than your previous efforts. When you experience that first success, you'll understand what I learned staring at that $47 bank account. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is strategically do less. Stop grinding. Start subtracting. Your future wealthy self will thank you for the strategic laziness you embrace today.